Welcome back, everyone, to Hearts of Iron 4. This is Kaiserreich. It is November 1942. I am the nation of Austria, and our war has shifted to the Pacific. But there's another war going on, and that is the Second American Civil War, which initially was between three warring American powers, but now is a war between the United States of America and the combined syndicates of America and their ally, Mexico. You can see here just the massive casualties that have been experienced on either side. And the situation as it exists is not a good one for the enemies of the United States. Mexico is being conquered. Combined syndicates are being conquered. But our war is in the east. And we're going to try to take this territory here, get control of the naval base at Vladivostok, and use that for our war against Japan. That is our main ally, or main enemy at this point, along with Burma, Laos, the legation cities, the Philippines, Vietnam, Siam. And so it's pretty much us against the Eastern Pacific powers now. So let's see what happens today. Our divisions are still getting into place along the border here, but they're already seeing some success. The Japanese just don't have the divisions to hold the line here. In fact, there was only one. It looks like they've pulled them all back now. So I don't know if they're falling back to a defensive line in a shorter area or if they're pulling them to another place. But there is no opposition right now on this border. So we're just going to march about as fast as we can get our units to go. You can see there's obviously a lot of attrition because of just a lack of supply. This is not a real hospitable area to be moving an army. Now we're starting to see a few Japanese battalions, but really very little opposition as we make our way down to Vladivostok. I think we're probably pretty close to this thing being over, but I would expect Vladivostok will have to fall. Looks like Ukraine's going to send us some motorized units. We're just going to send our forces on a beeline for Vladivostok to end this thing as quickly as possible. There it is. Vladivostok has fallen. That is the news we were hoping to see. I absolutely want to take that territory to get the naval base that is there. I don't think we have the points to take all states, but I'd much like to keep everything connected if at all possible here. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to do that, at least not yet. No, now we can. Alright, wouldn't mind having the steel production here either. Not a lot going up in the north, though. They can have that. I'm done with what I want to claim. Alright, excellent news. The Russian Republic takes 13 states. They can have it. They get all of that northern territory there that you see. Eventually, I'd probably like to have all this connected too, but I'm not going to complain too much about that. The most important thing, of course, is that now I have a naval base and also an air base with room for 1,600 planes. And we can use that to launch our airstrikes against Japan. So let's go ahead and start gathering up all the planes we have, which is probably more than 1,600, but it's a good place to start. We'll start moving them all this direction. We'll see how many we've got all together. Where are they going? Oh, that must have been other planes, not mine. Now, speaking of planes, we've got an upgrade, and that is to our naval bombers. We've got Naval Bomber 2 now. Let's go ahead and get that going. We've also got some available planes. We can create some new squadrons. I think we're probably at the place we can start thinking about maybe doing some bombers to hit Japan with. But I want to start by getting this close air support upgrade. We've got some free military factories too. I'm going to focus on fighters for a little while. All right, we're going to get our close air support operating in Korea, if that's possible. I'm not sure that it is. They're a little bit out of range, unfortunately. So we can at least get our fighters operating over there. We're going to have fighters operating on the Sea of Japan, but also in Korea, so we can help out with the situation there. I'm working on naval research as much as I can to build up the Navy. And we're going to start operating our fleet here in the Sea of Japan. And eventually we'll try to clear a way for an invasion of the home islands if that's possible. But we'll only do that after we take Korea. There's an absolutely enormous naval battle happening right now, and Isoroku Yamamoto is in command of the Japanese naval forces that are facing off against us. I'm a little concerned about how this one's going to end up. We've already lost 4 destroyers and 3 subs. The Brazilians have also lost a sub. We've taken out 1 coastal defense ship that was sunk by the SMS Prinz Eugen. Yeah, it's loading up fast. We are getting pummeled by the main Japanese Navy right now, which is kind of interesting. They've got positioning on us, which is the main thing. But you can see they've got 3,000 torpedoes. You can see their anti-air that they have available to us, to them, depth charges, number of light guns, a number of heavy guns that are there. We've got more heavy guns, but they've got more light guns. This is not going well so far at all. Wow, 14 destroyers now lost. Oh, that was brutal. That was a brutal defeat for our Navy. We're going to have to rethink our strategy a little bit. Another naval battle, another disaster for us as we have lost 7 more destroyers. Now, granted, these were older ships that I've had since the beginning of this campaign. So these were not ones I built recently. They were not really designed to deal with air power. And you can see here he had 4 aircraft carriers, 2 with experimental carrier hulls, 2 improved carrier hulls, along with 31 destroyers, 11 escort craft. So we've got a long way to go to be able to compete with that kind of a Navy. In the meantime, we're going to continue to work on our doctrines, and we're really going to have to just keep ramping up our naval dockyards. The problem, of course, is that I just don't have that much in terms of territory that borders the sea, and I've pretty well maxed out everything I've got where I can build additional naval dockyards. I can only add 6 more to the ones that I've already got, so we're going to have to figure something out here as far as trying to get some more space for naval dockyards. All right, we've completed our rocket engine technology. Let's go ahead and work on jet engines next. And we're also starting to work on our first strategic bombers, which I think are probably going to be key to bringing Japan down, because it doesn't look like we're going to have our Navy at a place where they can do it anytime soon. In fact, I've actually told the Navy to stand down, and we're just going to let them sit for a while we build our forces to some acceptable level. Looks like the U.S. Civil War is going to be over before too long, too. Canada controls New England now. Starting to build up the railroad and the supplies. United Kingdom abandons Northern Ireland. We're starting to try to build supplies up in here because we have no supply and just basically no ability to attack into North Korea right now. All right, major problem here. The Japanese have landed right where my air base was. So not good at all. In fact, let's go ahead and pull our forces back to deal with that. Our air and naval forces were right there, so that's obviously a major problem. Well, we've got a major problem on our hands. I think the Japanese are going to completely destroy my 24 divisions here. They've got me. I mean, they've got me surrounded, they've got me cut off, and they're about to have me destroyed. Unreal how quickly that happened. I don't know why I had my back turned and I was blind to that possibility, but there they go. 24 divisions just gone from my army just like that. Oh, that was brutal. Well, I deserved that. I got surrounded. He landed in behind me. I wasn't protecting myself against it. I wasn't defending the coast as I should have been, and I paid for it. All right, our remaining divisions are starting to arrive on the front lines, the new front lines, and we're fighting these battles all over again. And meanwhile, our Navy is out there in the open, and we're in big trouble with them. So I'm going to try to get my Navy out of there as quickly as I can and get them to some place where they can... Looks like they're going to move up to a base up here. Get to a place of safety. It's July 1943. We're going to have to rely on air power and technology at this point. In the process right now, research-wise, of working on our first strategic bombers. We're also working on jet engines, sonar, computing machine, engineer companies. Just like that, we are pushing back again, retaking the territory that we had previously lost. As long as we have supply, we have no trouble defeating the Japanese army in the field. It's when we get down past our supplies we start to have an issue. So we're going to reconquer Vladivostok again. We're going to look at the overall situation here. The Japanese have lost 463,000 men. Only 63,000 of those have been to me. Meanwhile, they have taken out 265,000 of ours. Of course, most of that was that 24 divisions that they surrounded and destroyed. We've got another naval battle here. We lost a battleship and a destroyer. I thought I sent my Navy to safety, but okay. Well, we had to move them again because the Japanese again have landed behind us. So once again, we're going to have to send divisions to deal with that. So I have ridiculous amounts of air experience that is maxed out at the moment. So we're going to just spend some of it on improving our planes that we have at the moment. I don't like the low reliability that we've got right now on that one. So we're going to ramp up our reliability. It's going to improve our naval attack, our range, agility, and max speed. So that's the naval bomber, the new ones. I want to do the same thing with our close air support. We don't have enough range on our close air support right now, so I want to improve that as best we can, but that also means we're going to have to improve reliability. Let's do that. Alright, it's our turn to surround and destroy some Japanese divisions now. Let's go ahead and hit them. It's only a few, but it feels like some little bit of justice in doing that. Once we destroy these divisions, we'll go up and hit these other ones here. We've pretty much pushed back to Vladivostok now. We've got a few remaining pockets of resistance there. I'd really like to cut them off if I can. So I'm going to try to do just that. I'm going to try to send everybody I can into this spot here and divide these units before they can get to safety. Alright, we've got 4 more divisions surrounded. We're going to move in on them as quickly as we can up here in the north. Still haven't quite been able to cut these guys off in the south. I'm having, once again, some supply issues that are keeping me from being able to do that. Getting a ton of ace pilots right now just shows you how much is going on with the air power. We've completed research on our first strategic bomber. Now we're immediately going to start working on the next one. But I'm going to start producing those, and we're going to try to establish air supremacy across this channel and start hitting the heart of Japan. He's once again landed, and once again we are destroying those forces that have landed. So as long as he keeps doing that, it's actually going to be a really nice way of taking out chunks of the Japanese army. We are, however, going to try to watch the coast as much as possible so we can keep that from happening again. I think I finally got him cut off. Alright, there we go. So now we've got 4 more Japanese divisions cut off. And we're going to do our best to destroy them as quickly as we can here. There we go. All right, so I don't know where that puts us. We have a bunch more Lend-Leases happening. That's one of the best things about having so many allies, is they're constantly sending us stuff we can desperately use. Logistics fulfillment's a major problem. We need convoys, trucks, and trains big time. So we're going to have to work on all of that right now too. Now with all those divisions I destroyed, the number of casualties we've inflicted on Japan are pretty close to the same as what he's inflicted on us. So we made up for the destruction of our army and then some. He's still landing little incursions, but now we've got 47 divisions who are assigned to protecting the coast, and anywhere the Japanese land, we'll immediately be on them. The collapse of the American syndicates. I think we're finally, after all these years, seeing an end to the American Civil War. It is on its last legs. Mexico City has fallen, and there it is. The United States of America has won. The border now, though, for Canada now controls New England, New York. But the U.S. is now free to engage in world diplomacy now that they've dealt with their own little mess. So we have to keep an eye on that. We only have a small number of bombers right now, 26 to be exact. But we've already begun our strategic bombing campaign against the home islands of Japan. I've also got pushing 600 or more, actually 812 fighters doing an air superiority mission, but we're only about 18% effective in that. And part of the problem is, of course, we don't have the range for it. So we're going to have to improve the range of our fighters or capture an air base in South Korea to be able to get a little closer. We're once again going to start working on our railway and our supply hub. Oh, the Kingdom of Spain has joined us in the war. It's nice to see them join. Because we're right again at that place where we're just going to have a lack of supply. I do want to assign further area defense to those divisions that are responsible for guarding the coast, so we can guard this part of the coast and protect against what I know is going to be coming, which is a Japanese attempt to do exactly what they did before and get in behind me and encircle my troops out here on the border while I build those supplies up. All right, we're going to create a variant for our B-224 fighters, and we're going to add a bunch of reliability and 360 kilometers of range. Actually, we might be able to go a little higher than that. Yep, we can. 92% reliability, 480 kilometers of range. So let's go ahead and start producing the Mark 1. We need that range, and we need those extra fighters to try and add to our air superiority ability here in Japan, because right now we're only at about 22% superiority, and I just don't have enough fighters to get this done. I don't know if these guys can reach there. It looks like maybe they can. But they can only reach the very top, and that's the problem. I think the superiority issue isn't about the number of fighters we have so much as the fact that we can only cover half the home islands. See, now that I move them closer and they're a little more in range, that efficiency's going up. I think we could probably get that efficiency to 100% if we can get a little closer. And I think if we are able to eventually build supplies here and push down into Korea, and we can get this air base here, that would help. Taking a look at where research is, as we're in December of 1943. We're 51 days away from our next level of strategic bombers. 21 days away from jet engines. Working on magnetic detonators for torpedo attacks for our Navy. And we are 554 days away from having nuclear bombs. With nuclear bombs in mind, we have to start building reactors, because reactors are going to be what we use to create those nukes. Now the problem is, there we go. I'm starting to find a few places that I can build one. Some of these are not. I think it's because I already planned on building other things there. Not too many places we can build them right now. Looks like it's going to be Italy, and we're going to queue up a bunch of these because each one allows us to construct nukes a little faster. With the completion of jet engines, we now have the ability to build the Messerschmitt 262. Those were those first jet fighters that the Germans deployed in the later stages of the war, so we're going to go ahead and get those going ourselves. We're still at a standstill in Korea. What has happened here? Argentina. I really have no interest in taking land in Argentina, but apparently the German Empire did. So they have grabbed a bunch of land down there. The German Empire now controls Argentina. All right. They must have been fighting down there. Maybe, now that that's done, maybe that frees them up to maybe send some help against Japan. We'll see. Okay, we've got Strategic Bomber 2, and we've got a bunch of air experience points again to be spending. So let's increase the range on those things, but most importantly, let's increase their ability to bomb. And then try to build their... we're going to bring range down, because I think our range is good at the moment. Try to bring reliability up as much as we can. 88%, we'll take that for now. Actually, we lose range if we do nothing, so let's do that. Okay. The 290 Mark II, or Mark I. I don't remember what it was. Mark I. Major sea battle. It was a defeat. The Germans lost 20 destroyers and 2 escort cruisers. We lost 8 naval bombers. But 2 Japanese destroyers, a Japanese battle cruiser, a cruiser, an escort cruiser, and some planes were taken out. So that wasn't my Air Force. It was the Germans, or my Navy, the Germans, but still a defeat. We're about 3 weeks away from our supply hub being completed here. We'll see if that helps the supply situation at all, which right now is showing as 1%, which is just completely useless to us. All right, supply status has gone from 1% to 73% for our units on the front lines. So let's see if that allows them to start pushing forward. It took forever to build that supply hub, but it seems like it's allowing us to get some attacks going. Now we're going to have a lot of attrition here, but hopefully we can overcome that eventually. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up right there. It's end of April 1944. We are just over a year away from our first nukes. We are 200 days away from our first jet fighters. We're also getting close with our next naval bombers that we'll have available. Concentrated Industry 5 we're working on. We are trying desperately to build up our Navy, but it's slow going because I'm limited in the amount of dockyards I can build. But we do have ships on the way. And other than that, we're just kind of slogging ahead here. We're having a real hard time. I'm actually going to pull some of these units out of the front lines just because I've got too many for the amount of supplies that we've got available to us. So I'm actually better off to fight with a smaller force than with a larger one, and maybe just go with armored divisions to try and bust through his line, but do so with fewer armored divisions. So I'm going to assign some of these panzer divisions from the other unit and swap them out for infantry, I think, moving forward. But let me know your thoughts. Use the comment section below. We'll see what happens. I don't think this war with Japan's ending anytime soon. As for other wars, there are a few others going on. Colombia, Ecuador, and Venezuela against Panama, which all used to be one country at one time, not so long ago. Honduras and El Salvador war, Guatemala and El Salvador versus Honduras and Nicaragua. We've got a war going on in China between various warring nations. And then we've got Ethiopia versus Somalia. So there you have it. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.